All righty. I just got to get this into full screen mode and we're going to dive in. This is how to optimize your Fiverr profile one word at a time. Starting with the first impression, I love trying to figure this out. I really did. I was trying to figure out what is it about the vibe that my profile is giving off that will ideally attract the ideal clients I'm looking for. So if you're new on Fiverr or if you have an established profile that's maybe generating some conversions and you started making some revenue, the one thing I'd go back and look at first from top to bottom is the vibe check. What is that? That is specifically this little blurb of information right here underneath your profile photo. It is the vibe check, the first impression that matters the most. And it's you telling your customers exactly who you are. And you want to be 100% authentic from the start. So what I mean by that is if you're funny or dorky, have the courage to be that. Be you. You know, if you're all business, you have no time for humor, then be that. Um, if you're super intelligent but trying to be casual about it, try to have that come across in your branding and in your messaging with this little line of text right here. Most people tend to say things like, you know, graduated from, I love doing this. Those are all good things, but let's try to do our best to like humanize this little blurb. And I'll tell you why. In one sentence, you have this opportunity to really tell them, you know, what you do. Tell your buyers what you do. What's your superpower? What do you value? And if you're asking how this is relevant to attracting new buyers, this is what will help you immediately qualify the right clients, and most importantly, provide an opportunity for the wrong clients to self-select out of your customer journey. Because you know, here's the situation, right? It's really about attracting your Sunday mimosa buyers. And what I mean by this is who are the people that you would legitimately invite over to your house? Who are the clients you'd invite over to your house for Sunday mimosas, for like a Sunday mimosa brunch to hang out and maybe even connect with your family and friends? If you look at it through that lens, you really can't go wrong. And you're going to create the kind of profile that attracts those ideal clients. Because on average, you're going to spend more time working with clients than you will with your own family. This is just the nature of doing any kind of business. It's going to take up a lot of your time. So when it comes to your profile, I really recommend saving your education, your certs, and all of your accolades for the left-hand side of your profile versus adding it into your descriptions. Then ask yourself one very important question. Who are your peeps? Are they working in wellness? Do they own small
Yeah.
businesses? Are they accountants? Do they, you know, are they global? Do they have offices in multiple different places? What's their age group? What do they like to do? So this is just a small little snapshot of some of the clients I've worked with and continue to work with in my industry. Some of them are artists, authors, tech entrepreneurs. They own shipping companies. There's a lot of diversity amongst them in terms of where they are proximity wise across the globe. But what I'm interested in tuning in as you create your profile, what you want to ask yourself is, where are the themes where these clients intersect? Is it age? Is it interest? Is it industry? And really, really get curious about what those metrics are so we can refine the kind of profile that's going to attract the right people. Um, so this gets started really with your description, right? Keep it short, to the point, snazzy, flash engaging. Tell your buyers why they need you. You can do this in 60 seconds with a quick exercise, which is just ask yourself, what's the action word that's associated with the value you provide? Are you building, providing, editing, writing, supporting, delivering, designing, creating? Try to find those action words that you feel accurately sum up the value you provide. And actually, this is what it looks like in terms of your description. So after you've nailed the little one-liner at the top of your profile, um, there's three sort of segments of information we want to focus on. Number one, get right to the heart of it, right? Your clients are busy, the buyers are busy. They don't want to read, 15 lines of text to figure out why they need to hire you and only you. So start with line number one, get right to the heart. Number two, define the core value and service. Three, what's the call to action / final product look like? So in this case, I'm using my description as a template. What do? I create content that gets right to the heart of your mission and your message. So right away, the buyer knows, what do I do? Create content. What's the content do? It gets right to the heart of my mission, my message, and my objective. The core value and service is I write XYZ, mission, vision, bios, brand stories, value props, slogans, etc. All the things. See, this is just me injecting a little bit of humor to keep it light, keep it, add a little brevity into it. And then I close it out with a strong call to action. What do they need to do? Let's connect, talk about your business, brand, or vision, and let me craft you the most authentic, beautiful, and impactful content that converts and inspires. So within that small body of text, the buyers have a clear understanding of what they're going to get and how I can solve their problems. Let's talk about how this actually works, you know, scaling this upward into a full-on business. Like if you want to generate some serious revenue on Fiverr, what you need to focus in on is go all in on your number one gig. This is something I've learned just through experience working with a lot of buyers, but then also having some conversations with through the Fiverr Seller Plus program with my dedicated customer service person who shared with me, you know, for some reason, it's always that main gig that drives the majority of traffic and conversions on Fiverr. I found for me, it's been writing mission and vision statements. At one point, I had 5 different gigs on the platform, but I noticed maybe 3 of them were converting, but there was always one standout gig. So if you notice, according to the algorithm and the metrics that you're tracking, for some reason, whether it's SEO, luck, or universal law, very few top sellers on Fiverr are achieving that level of success with more than one gig. So start trying to picture and segment out what you think your main gig would be according to the metrics. Let's go all on that because that's going to be the entry point into more add-ons, to custom orders, and value-driven upsells. And I'll leave some room to explore what I mean by that later. So now we're getting into your actual, we've got your little one-liner, your blurb. We've got your brief description about who you are and what you do. Now this is about the value proposition for your primary gig. And the structure breaks down like this. I'll just go through this quickly because we're going to talk about it during the Q&A. First paragraph, what's the problem you're inspired to solve? Yes, hang in. I'm going to just go through this and then we'll ask some questions at the end. There's going to be plenty of Q&A time, if that's okay. What's the problem you're inspired and determined to solve? Start there. Second paragraph, how will you apply and leverage your strengths and skills and experience to solve it? Third paragraph, list the top 3 most valuable ways you'll make an impact. Fourth, tell your customers how you will transform their lives once they commit to working with you. So that's going to be a really, really big, important thing to think about is really helping your customers visualize as quickly and efficiently as possible. What does it look like for them to work with you? You guys don't have to read all of this. I'm just sharing with you the fact that I've used a color photo for my profile gig. That's very important. I've stuck to the value proposition structure line by line, right? So what I'm doing is outlining the journey for the customer. Thank you so much for checking in. I understand the journey of finding the right person can be both exciting and exhausting. So I'm highlighting the problem, and now I'm telling them how I'm going to solve it with my 10 years of experience, that I'm not going to stop writing until it's perfect, delivers goosebumps, and they're 100% happy with the final product. And then once you've got these 2 paragraphs down, tell them clearly, with this gig, you will get in bullet points X, Y, Z, right? And this, by the way, you're going to craft and cultivate over time based on real-time feedback that you're going to get from your buyers. And then I've got the call to action at the end. Send me a DM. Let's do a Fiverr video meetup. This is important. It's everything. I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment. But this is something I added recently, which is sort of an additional call to action, which is even if you don't end up placing an order, just one free video consult with me will deliver X, Y, Z. So now I'm providing value for free. What that shows any potential buyers is that I actually care about their content, even if they don't hire me. So that goes above and beyond right from the start, and it really establishes a foundation for trust and nurturing a working relationship over time. This little line right here has been responded to pretty much from 80% of the buyers who said that's the one that closed them. Another thing to think about is embedding your customers' feedback directly into your conversations and brand messaging to attract more buyers. So what I mean by that is every time I do a free consult or it's a Fiverr meetup, right? What I'm tuning into is sharing the stories of past successes with my current buyers from the lens and the exact language of the clients that I've helped. So I've used words like brand messaging, help to clarify the idea, come up with the right words. So reflecting and mirroring that wording within every new engagement with a new buyer has been so valuable. And the main lens I've used to really refine and innovate my profile. Um, the meetup. I made a note here to talk about why the meetup is super important. The meetup is everything. So have, if you have on your profile, a charge associated with having a consult, you can make your decision either way. But something I found, especially working with a lot of the new buyers on Fiverr, is that if you remove the barrier to entry, block off 15, 20 minutes of your time to consult with a client, see if you can find out what their core problem and needs are. You're establishing trust, you're providing value, and you may also have an opportunity to seamlessly do an add-on or a custom order, which I think at this point is probably about 80% of my orders now. They all end up becoming a custom order after we had that initial Fiverr meetup. So it's super important. I just highlighted this one. Dr. Gupta is a really amazing human being who's doing some incredible work. And he just wrote this glowing review. And this is one of the ones that I've used to embed some of the wording and the language into other presentations, or actually the branding strategy that I have for my profile. So again, go back, look at the reviews that you have gotten so far. See if you can find where the patterns repeat. Like, who are the people who are ordering from you? What are they saying about you? And how can you use that wording in your Fiverr profile to attract more of those buyers? So this is about making every word count and clearly explaining via words and video how you're going to solve your customers' most challenging problems. And remember that they're busy. They don't have time to read a massive amount. So this is where the video gig matters. I recently was given some great advice from the Seller Press program customer person I'm working with, who recommended that I put a video up. I was so busy, I forgot to do it. And finally, when I did, it was almost an immediate boost of up to 72% in conversions. Is this normal? I don't know. I have no idea. But what I do know is that the video works and it's still tracking for me in terms of engagement. Providing a video also helps humanize and connect with your buyers. It reminds them that they're actually not just dealing with a computer, they're dealing with a human being. So this is where we can start to really leverage, and personalize our skill set a bit more through some impactful and authentic video content. That's really been a huge gain and a game changer for me. It's also going to help you clarify your value and customer journey. Most importantly, it's going to accelerate the ordering process. So remember, by the time the buyer clicks on you, they should know in under 60 seconds why you're the only person they should work with and how you can answer all their questions in advance before they click the buy button. These are legitimate, hashtag truth, real, actual buyer feedback when I've asked the 113 buyers I've collected or worked with so far is, why did you click on my profile? So if you're offering free consults, and you're doing Fiverr video meetups, the most valuable information you can ask a potential buyer, what is it that made you click on my profile? And this is what they said. I love that you offered a free consult and you weren't in a rush just to take my money. I've heard this a lot. So this, if you're not doing or offering a free Fiverr video meetup, I highly recommend you put that on your profile. Be authentic. One of the clients said, when you describe yourself as a good human, that did it for me. So using the word good human was the selling point that this particular buyer needed to reach out and place an order. From the gig video and descriptions, I got the sense that you actually cared about your clients, and I knew you were the right person for the job, which is true. My favorite is the pricing. Someone actually shared this with me. I figured if this guy isn't going to charge 150 unless he's worth 150. So remember not to devalue yourself. Putting in the work to understand where is that price point that puts you just ahead of the competition, even if you have to reduce it just a little bit, but keep it high enough so that you don't devalue yourself within the marketplace. There's a whole separate strategy that goes into that, but we can talk about this in Q&A as well. Be clear and direct. This is something a lot of buyers have shared with me is I was super clear about the services, confident about the results I could deliver. But again, this comes with time and practice. Um, these are just some quick rapid fire insights that I've learned over the past few years on Fiverr. Use a color photo of you on your profile. Um, if you're a graphic designer, maybe it can be different. Maybe you can graphic design a photo of you. However you want to uniquely highlight and authenticate and connect with your buyers, that's the way I would go. But 9 times out of 10, I always recommend an actual photograph of yourself so they can see who you are. Ask your clients why they clicked and ordered your gig. So important. You're going to get so much valuable marketing and strategic insight into how you can refine your profile over time by interviewing your actual potential buyers and repeat buyers. Use client feedback as the driving force for all innovation. So for example, with this webinar, this was created based on several other webinars I did and the feedback I got and some of the questions that you guys asked in the Q&A. So I'm directly trying to use feedback as the driving force for all innovation at every stage of the game. This may sound a bit woo-woo, but tune into whether or not you actually enjoy the work. So if your primary gig is editing LinkedIn profiles and it's making you a good amount of money, but you hate doing it, over time, that eventually becomes, and this is just my experience, it becomes a recipe for burnout because it's not sustainable, even if there's revenue driving it and there's consistency. You have to actually enjoy it. Um, Remember to highlight your past clients to inspire your current. Also, track your time. So when it comes to optimizing your Fiverr profile, a lot of folks on Fiverr, you'd be surprised how many people don't actually know what an hour of their time is worth in the marketplace. And I would say 90% of the new sellers I've been working with to help optimize their profiles have no idea that they're devaluing themselves and actually losing thousands of dollars a year by mistake. So tracking your time and coming up with a formula consistently to deliver what your customers need and tracking how much time it takes you can really help you price out your projects accordingly and price for long-term growth. Remember, most importantly, it's not just about attracting the right customers. You want to have the wrong ones self-select out. And I will share tons of stories with you about maybe some negative experiences that I've had with buyers who really were disappointed by what I delivered. I'm fully transparent with that journey and how I failed and how I sort of grew through those failures. So um, that's it. You got questions, hit me. If you want information on the big course that's coming out in May, that's the whole optimization thing, you can email me here, download some free downloadable PDFs on my website, or most importantly, hit me up on Fiverr. My username is meaningful work. So please, Q&A time, let's do it. Hit me. You can type it, you can talk it, whatever works best. Any questions? Aziz, fire away.
Yeah. Hi, can I ask some questions?
Yeah, fire away.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the opportunity, and thanks giving this wonderful helping material for us. And for myself, I'm a mobile app developer and soon to be a top rated seller on Fiverr and from
Congrats.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm facing some issue, like I'm gonna become a top rated seller, but my gig is not boosting, like not clicks, and sometimes I just getting the orders from my previous clients, like no new. Sometimes what I experience, like some from the past few days, if I turn my seller mode to buyer, buyer mode, I will get continuously text from the different, like some different buyers, and they will say, hi Aziz, we need this. So I think so. Might be this will be a trick to convert your mood into seller to in buyer. And my second question on video, do you think like I don't have any video in my gig image. I just simply put image. If you need Android apps, then connect me, only and I have only 2 gigs. So is this matter? Like I have completed I mean to say 105 orders completed. So only I
Okay.
have 2 gigs. So should I make more gigs, or it's not a good way? I will get only on these 2 gigs. So my question is this.
Yes. So like, I'll try to answer it sort of top down, and then at the end, we can always follow up too with an email directly, and we can like go in deep. So what I would say is in terms of the gigs, it took me a couple years to figure this out. I really was surprised to know that it's the 1 gig, right? It's the 1 gig. For me, it's mission and vision statements that drives most of the traffic. And what I was surprised by was how much of an impact properly tagging the gig makes on conversions. So, for example, to answer your question, I always say 3 gigs is kind of, from my experience, the most I've ever needed. I had 5 at one point. What I end up doing is driving most of the traffic that I get from the 1 major gig conversion onto the other 2, or they end up becoming custom orders. So I would say 3 minimum seems to be working for me. Also, check your titles. So, for example, what I learned a
Yeah.
couple months ago was my title is I will create the perfect mission and vision statement, right? And the tag for my old tag said, for my gig, mission and vision statement. What I didn't realize was because the title for my actual gig was already driving conversions, I've essentially lost the use of one of the tags by duplicating it. So what you want to do is come up with an original tag. So instead of mission statement, I could just put mission or brand strategy. So really optimize the tags at the bottom of your gig, and do a little search in the Fiverr search box there to see which tags have the highest competition. And what I found for me is a mix of getting a tag that aligns with your core service, that has a good amount of competition, so there's a marketplace for it, and maybe finding 1 or 2 that have low competition, so you can sort of create your own niche. Um, and then also, I think this is the third part of your question, video. I highly recommend, even if it's just 30 seconds, to say your name,
Oh, great.
what you love to do, and the impact you're going to have in your customers' lives. It's so huge. I can't tell you how many people have said your video was the reason we bought, and me, this will sound weird. Like, I don't like being on camera. I don't like pictures of myself on the internet, but I had to get over it because you want to drive conversions, you have to connect. So,
Great.
um, so Aziz, I
Okay.
hope that answers your question,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
again, follow up with me
I
directly.
got my question. I got my question answered. Thank you so much. Just last question. Uh, I face a experience like I have worked with many buyers, and what I have recent experience. One of the buyer is said, "Hey Aziz, I'm not a technical person, but I want to do. This is my app, and you have to talk with my developer." And he will guide you everything and tell you requirement, and we will work on Fiverr, but
Mm,
he will text you on your Fiverr, like the buyer have an developer, and he will text from his Fiverr ID. So is it good in a Fiverr policy? So we will work with the buyer developer, and then buyer will order on Fiverr, like he send me the order, and he will
mm-hmm,
say this is the order, and my
mm-hmm.
requirement will tell to you my developer on Fiverr. So is it a good way to do these type of orders?
Mm. As long as it's within, sort of the policy, that's not, there's no conflict, because you want to make sure you protect that and honor that within Fiverr. As long as it's all on the platform and you're doing it above board and there's full transparency, and there's no conflict specifically within, the way Fiverr likes to do things, you're safe there. But in terms of doing business, what I would do is check in with yourself and like be honest with any potential buyers and say, look, here's how I can deliver my best work. This is what a successful collaboration looks like. I would be the one on your end to drive that customer journey and that experience as it works best for you. because here's what's going to happen if you bring too many chefs into the kitchen to create an outcome. Then it gets a little bit confusing. There's delays in payment, there's confusion. So I always say keep it to, you and the buyer. If there's a whole thing going on their end in terms of a quality control process, let them handle that. That would just be my take on it, because sometimes it can get more complicated than need be. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So if
totally.
we have more question, then I will contact you on your email, right?
Yes, I will share my screen again so everyone can see it.
So
And
is it
then,
aware? Recently I have joined a Fiverr meetup. There the host create a WhatsApp group, and he said it's a Pakistani community workshop where he create a WhatsApp group. And is
Mhm.
it possible for you or not?
To create a WhatsApp group, yeah, sure, I
Yeah,
could do that. That's actually
yeah,
great,
great.
great feedback.
Yeah,
I'll
great.
start doing it. I'll
Yeah,
make a note.
great.
Aziz, I do have to run to more questions, but thank you so much, man. And let's connect via email, and I will set up a WhatsApp group. This is great feedback. Um, Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Anybody
Okay. Sure.
else?
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you. If there's any other questions, please fire away. I'm gonna look at the chat, and you guys could either just
Hey Ken,
chat it out or
hey Ken, can you hear
type
me?
it out. Yeah,
How are you today?
pretty good.
Awesome. So many thanks for this, for this session. It's actually this is the first session I'm attending in Fiverr. I have been, the seller in Fiverr since like 5 years, but then only now something hit me, and this is my first session attended. I
Hmm.
have a couple of questions regarding my seller account. So basically, what is happening is in the recent times, I'm not getting new clients as the other of the attender who just spoke before. He told
Hmm.
it's the same thing. I tried to communicate this to the the customer care and the Fiverr, asking them what's the reason of that, and they replied me saying your performance was poor, and so your gig has not been shown up in the search tab. That is what their response was on that. So I replied them asking, is it going to be the same throughout, or is there any, something that I can improve in order to improvise my gig? But I didn't get any response on that. So I thought maybe let me check with you on that.
Yeah. So your question is that your gig, it's not showing up, or it's not ranking. Is that kind of the question?
Yeah, it's not showing up in the search tab. So when we have a Fiverr account, we also have an option to go and have your mode in buyer, and you can search your own gig, right? So in that way, I tried to search because I'm a translator. I tried to search
Hmm.
using the keywords which I have it in my gig, and my gig was not showing up basically. So that's why I tried to approach them asking why it's not showing up.
Mm. That's, you know what, I've had, and this isn't blatant marketing for Fiverr. I have received no money to promote this, but I've had questions like that, and my Seller Plus sort of customer service manager has been really
Mm-hmm.
great with looking at my profile in real time on her end of things and saying, here's why this isn't working, here's what you need to improve. Some of them are so case specific based on industry, what's tracking in terms of the algorithm, and I think a lot of this too is it's cyclical, right? So for example, my gig was I've been off for a month because I've been traveling. So it's probably going to take me a couple weeks to get back up in the ranking and start showing up. So I think a lot of this is going to be driven by, for the most part, really trying to do the research. What I would do is find a competitor in your space who's selling a similar service, look at what their main title is for their gig, see if you
Mm-hmm.
can find sort of a niche replication of what they're doing, and then also look at the tags that are associated with that competitor. See what they're doing right to get tracking in that amount of orders. Because sometimes it's one or two tags or the right line of text that will lead, to a completely different outcome. But I would definitely send an email to Fiverr, sort of HQ, and say, hey guys, is there someone internally that can guide me? Um, and maybe even worth it, just whatever, if you want to do it for a month to get a membership to Seller Plus to try it out. to see what kind of the tools are and if they can help. It's been helpful for me. So it's sort of paid for itself 10 times over already. But hopefully that's helpful. A lot of it's experimenting too, and just being patient. But it does go in cycles. So hopefully that answers your question. But feel free. I just left my email in the chat. Gabriel, I just want to tune in and thank you for the feedback. Gabriel is a top-rated seller, and in 7 years only had 1 gig. Gabriel, you're my hero. You've streamlined. You've simplified it. That's what it's about. I honestly think I'll probably get rid of at some point my other 2 gigs, mostly because it's just the 1 gig that's converting. I don't know to absolute certainty if I were to do that, if my rankings somehow would go down. But the best way to know is maybe you could pause the gigs and go all in on 1 gig for a month and sort of see, how that works for you. Every industry is different. So I just say err on the side of caution, but why not experiment, right? Test out the hypothesis if you think it's going to work. Thanks for that, Gabriel. Anybody else, feel free to shoot in maybe your question in the text or open up the mic. It's kind of a small intimate group, which is great. So whoever wants to talk, feel free. I think Anna's joining the party. Hi, Anna. Any other questions, anybody? Good to go? Nothing? You got me for at least another 20 minutes. Yeah, feel free to ask. There's going to be a lot more I'm going to create in it's going to be a May launch for the Fiverr optimization course. So if you are interested in the course, email me at the email that I put in the chat. I'll send you all the links. And then I'm also hosting, by the way, for those who are on the call today, it's going to be a free brand strategy webinar. There's no charge, there's no catch, there's no upsell. It's going to be same time, 12:30 p.m. on Thursday. This is going to be something I'm hosting for free, and it's relevant to all Fiverr sellers or any new businesses that have just started, or if you just have an idea you want to clarify and do something with. So the 20th of April, 12:30 p.m., you can sign up on my website and get the webinar info. Yeah, if there's no other questions, feel free, hit me up via email. But Pratibha, did you have one more question?
Yeah, I have one more. I'm sorry
Okay.
for flooding up with questions. So I
No, I love
actually
it.
have a couple of clients who are, repeated clients. Basically, they keep buying from me. Like every day, I
Mhm.
get orders from them. So at least a page of translation they ask for because they work for some lawyers. So I have one
Mm.
of the clients who comes up with every single order every day, but it's so hard for me to ask them every time, give me a feedback, give me a ranking, a star rating, because normally he is flooded with so many orders, like he has a lot of other sellers also to communicate, and it's from my end, I feel like I'm asking him too much to do whenever, whenever I have completed my orders. And also, like, he never, approves the order as soon as I complete. It's always automatically completed, like after 3 days.
Mm.
So in
Mm.
this case, how do I approach them and, get it sorted out?
Yes. So, that's a great question. And then again, I don't know what the rules are with Fiverr. I don't know if you can actually ask for a review anyway. It's just sort of something that, obviously it's important, right? And it's an awkward
Yes.
conversation. I specialize in those,
Yeah.
right? Where if you have a repeat seller or buyer that just is too busy to approve the order, the best thing, here's what I would say is always come at it from an angle of solutions, right? So, hey, is there some way I can make it easier for you in terms of, getting the order approved and marked? Would you prefer like an email reminder? Um, there's only so much we can do at the end of the day. And look, the last 6 orders I got, all were automatically marked approved. Most of my clients are founders, CEOs, startups, so they're busy, right? So
Mhm.
what I would say is look at the actual metrics that matter the most. For sure, getting an order approved means you can get paid faster. Getting all these 5-star reviews makes your profile is going to go up in the ranking. So if you have developed sort of a trustworthy relationship with this person and they're doing a lot of repeat orders, it starts with, see if you can schedule a 10-minute call to strategize the next order. I've found that delivering messages via, face to face are more effective, and then deliver it again in the form of an email or a follow up, just as a reminder. You know, again, even if you do all those things, it may not fix a darn thing. But the one
Yeah.
thing I could do for the future proactively is maybe embed some of those into the Q&A of your gig, in your profile, where it's like, I just ask that you communicate with me openly. Let's talk about what the customer journey looks like, and how we can create a seamless experience. I think you may want to do a little research into what you can and can't say in terms of an ask from the buyer. I don't know if even asking them to do a review or asking them to make sure they approve the orders is allowed. So that may be more of a Fiverr HQ question, and they would be able to sort of provide some real-time feedback on that. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for joining again. Please hit me up with any more questions directly via email. Here's my email. There's my website. Those are my deets on Fiverr. And let me know if you want to find out more about the course that's coming in May. It's going to be sort of a full-on, fully comprehensive experience where you can get all the inside information that's helped me. It's just too much to pack into a 1 hour webinar. But thank you all for joining. I hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.